Bob, can you talk? How are you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, we're waiting for one more person who can talk, and then we introduce, and then we can get going. We hope you're okay. I don't know whether. Okay. Good evening, everyone in East Africa. Good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. We don't always have the same times. This is In Truth and in Spirit World of Worship Fellowship. I am your moderator today. Unfortunately, I am struggling with cough, with flu, with fever, but we have to be here. We just have to be here and minister in the manner that we can. So I will be using this voice as it is. I hope you can hear me. I apologize for those who are actually struggling to hear me. This is the best that I can produce today. I'm sure as we go along, the Lord will improve things. So we want to thank God that you are here. So it is Thursday, the 22nd of May, and every Thursday we have a Zoom fellowship where we normally Thursday is supposed to be a Q&R, questions and responses, and we talk about various issues concerning our social life. So today our topic is inheriting your parents' profession or calling. That's our topic. We want to ask questions, and actually they could be rhetorical questions. If your parent is a mega church pastor, should you automatically talk over the pulpit, whether when he dies or even when he's alive? Are you automatically also a pastor because your father is a senior pastor at that church? Is that the same thing to do with the Mrs. Pastor? Because they are all normally called the first ladies. And in one way or another, those women do not sit in the congregation as other congregants. They sit in front, and eventually they become also ministers. With or without a calling, they become ministers by default. So is the calling of the senior pastor a proximata, or is it transmitted sexually? Then we also ask another question. Is it wrong for a parent to inspire or steer their child toward the same profession or their same profession? You've seen families where the mom and dad were teachers, and 3 of their 5 children are also teachers. There was a generation where a family could be a family of teachers and so forth. So we were wondering whether they all have that calling of teaching, or it is what their parents inspired their children into and influenced them to become. They had no any other ability to show them any other thing but what they know. And we all know that you cannot give what you don't have. So is it wrong in that manner? And then we'll be also asking, if your father is president, is leadership your birthright, so that when your father steps down, or if it is in the case of Africa, when he dies, you become the next president of that country? If your father is an MP and then he dies, or your mother, the party of your father will front you, the child, to replace and to take on his seat. You see, in the United States, we have the Bush family, we have the Kennedy family. So is it a birthright? Is leadership your birthright because you are born in a family of leaders and presidents? Why are pastors' wives, children, and even in-laws, often pastors too? Why? Why is it that way? Then we will also be asking another question. Should kingship and political office pass down by bloodline? Because we have even seen, well, we can justify that, for instance, the Waganda would say, Obwakabaka bwa Nsikirano. But is that a fair statement to make in the context that Obwakabaka is leadership, not just Obwakabaka per se? Or do the Buganda Kingdom communicate a different thing? Buganda Kingdom, Busoga, Renzululu, etc., and even the Britons. Is every child born in the royal family an able leader, therefore? Or he must be king and we can look for other managers who are going to manage the kingdom affairs? But the other individual must be king and we cannot have any other as a king. Or because he's born by the king, he's therefore a king and we can create structures that are going to help someone who is not a king to act as a king just because he was born by a king. So why are children of deceased leaders MPs influenced? So basically that's what we are looking at today. And we could even bring it down to the local and individual family level. Should your son become the heir of your family? Or should he be put in the will, in your will, just because he's a boy, regardless of his abilities to galvanize the entire family structure and property? Is it wrong to choose a girl? You have boys and girls. Is it wrong to choose a girl based on merit rather than choosing an heir based on sex? Is leadership, is ministry, especially pastoral ministry, a biological thing? Just because we are born by a leader, therefore you are a leader? Is an empire, is a public empire, a privately owned thing where you have to leave us with your heir who does not have your abilities, but just because he's your bloodline, therefore he has to sit in that seat? So that is what we are looking at. That is what we are looking at today. And that is where we want your views, your knowledge, your wisdom, your questions, your criticism, your compliments and comments and commentary. So who wants to go first? And I hope you guys were actually, you could hear me, because like I said, I am struggling with flu and cough and fever. So I can't promise that the voice will be will get better than this. But if you can hear me, Reverend Raymond, are you good? And can you talk, Reverend? Okay. All right.
Isaiah.
Yeah.
Me, I can go first. Eh?
Yeah, sure.
Yes, I think this comes from the from the way we are nurtured and the environment that we grew up from. So when you're raised in that environment that your father is working or is operating in, there are high chances that probably you'd also want to become like him, because you want to be like him, because you know some of these fathers of ours are inspirational. So whatever they go through, we are inspired, and because that is what we have grown seeing, we intend to become like that. You see, and also even them raising us, that's all they know. You find that footballers, the children of footballers, who intend to play football, the children of musicians who intend to sing, because this child is growing, seeing his father doing that. Then also this father that is all he knows. He will try to pull his child into that. So there are things that we intend to do as because of the environment and how we are being nurtured. And that is the reason why we intend to follow the footsteps of our fathers. Yes. Isaiah, I've submitted. I don't know if the issue is with my network.
Yeah, sure. I missed the last part, but I think that's okay then. Okay. Did you guys hear Pedson's submission? Bob, you said you can talk.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I can talk.
Did you hear Pedson's submission all through? Because I missed him somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, but you can continue with yours. Yes, Muyanja, Mr. Muyanja.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I had the previous speaker, and I completely agree with him. The statement he made. Monkey see, monkey do. That is a philosophy, and it's something that kids follow. That's why they tell us that do not tell your kid what to do. Show them by the actions, and then they will follow. You cannot be coming back home at midnight drunk, and then you're telling your kid, do not, drinking is bad, or, coming late is bad. Am I clear on that? So
Yes,
the kid will be like, why are you telling me like this? And then you're doing that. So kids always copy. They copy us. When you walk a certain way, they will also walk a certain way. They will imitate. So what the previous speaker indicated is very, very true. Some kids, most of the time, they tend to get into the professions they do by being inspired by their fathers or their parents. Now, this is not always the case, because sometimes it can be a turn off depending on the way this kid grows up. They can grow up seeing a father in a certain profession, and this father is an away father all the time. And they can swear and say that, you know what, when I get a family, I don't want to do a job that my father does, because it kept him away from me, and I don't want to be away from my kids. So it can have the opposite effect sometimes, okay? But most of the time, it is likely that they will copy. You see a truck driver, when the kid is trying to make toys to play, he will make truck kind of toy cars, So they will, then when they grow up, they end up becoming a truck driver too or something. Now, there's another aspect of continuity, okay, that comes into this picture. Now, in many cases, there's an example actually which I shared.
Hello? Have I lost you?
Entire family, the father is a lawyer, the mother is a lawyer. They have 4 kids.
Mm,
2 already became lawyers and bar certified at age 17. Recently, their third born is also sitting the bar. They basically start studying law when they are 13 years, 14 years old. And you know, the education system here can allow you to have those shortcuts once you prove yourself. You can start attending university when you are 14, when you are 13. So the whole family, they are lawyers. Now, the inspiration probably is coming from parents. But the point of continuity is this. Isaiah starts a church, a mega church, okay? He builds it. Let's say like, I'm giving in Uganda, we can give an example of, let's say, Kayanja, okay? Kayanja, Pastor Kayanja. He builds this mega church in Rubaga Cathedral. Now there's a lot of investment into that, and the money is coming in. Now he's getting old. The only way to have an assured, earning for his kid is to hand over this business, because now church there is seen as a business which is bringing in cash flow. Okay, not to lose this business, it's better to leave it in the family. So he selects one of the kids to take over the church after them. Now, this kid may actually be also called to be a pastor. That can be true, but they may not be called to be a pastor. And you can easily see this when they are in their ministry. I don't know how this kid of you guys is doing, but remember he was taking over, he took over his Arizayo church fraternity. And I don't know how far that has gone, but probably it could be one of those examples which are like, you cannot have, if you are not called to do something, you will not, even if you are forced into it, it will not thrive, because you don't have that calling. The church which I attend to now, which I go to here, is led by a guy called Stanley. He's a son to, there was a Stanley we used to see on UBC when I was growing up, he was a pastor.
Charles.
Maybe you guys also know him, Charles Stanley.
Charles
So
Stanley.
yes, his son has a mega church here. But the guy is actually cut for ministry. When the guy starts to speak, you really see how deep he researches, how relevant he makes the message, and you really see his cut for this for being a pastor. So much as the father was a pastor, but you can see that either the father mentored him or the guy was fitting well into the calling, and the father may have left one church, but now this guy has over more than maybe 10 or so or different centers, I should say, or whatever, branches, all over the US. So which means this guy actually, had that calling and is fitting into the picture. But it is also a continuation of family legacy and family business in that sense. Now, when it comes to politics, again, people feel entitled. You gave an example of the Bush, which can still be fine as an inspiration. But the way I want, I mean, I can use the Bush's example is this guy did not take over from his father directly. Okay. Between his father and him, there was another president or two. You get. So this gave this guy time to also try and grow into this calling, as opposed to what we see in Africa, whereby a father can literally say, I'm going and I'm leaving this to my kid because it's gonna protect me or it's gonna stay in the family, etc. We've seen all that. There's an example of Uhuru. Uhuru did not take over from his father, he was on the sides doing other things, maybe representing in their parliament. It's what we call it, they have a parliament. And then he later became a president. Okay. Even when his father was dead or gone or completely, like, his father was not there to say, please give this, I'm putting my son in line. No, it looks like this guy was fitting into it as a personal calling, not necessarily as a result of his father influencing or pushing him and to take over him after the father was gone. Does that make sense to you guys?
Yeah,
So
it makes sense,
yeah,
especially if you are telling us that is about the approach, but not the essence, because the essence is the
yes, yes. Yeah, the approach can be different. So like I'm giving for example, let's say in Uganda, if Boz was to take over, after his father is gone, that would be like, more like directly, like, this guy is pushing his son on us. Whereas, when you look at other people where the guy goes and maybe there are 2 or 3 other presidents, and then the son comes up later, that can, we can argue, okay? Uh, so family continuity of family business. This is mainly one of the major factors that pushes people. If you're a truck driver, you have 3 trucks, you are going to die. Why don't pass this on to your son and they become a truck driver so they don't have to start from zero? So that is how kind of children take over from their fathers. Maybe I'll stop there for now, and I'll give other people a chance to.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Muyanja. That was very helpful. And thank you, Rutembana, for your views. But do parents look at their children as independent individuals that can pursue their own career, different even from their parents' careers? Or parents have that kind of paranoia that I need to kickstart my children, and in that manner of actually being kind to our children, we actually abuse people's careers. Because do we look at children as independent individuals and human beings who have different callings, who have different careers to pursue? Because you see, some parents even choose do a course selection at the university, do subject selection at senior 5, senior 6. Are we inspiring these children, or we actually influencing them? For me, that is my question, because what we might consider as something any parent should do as an obligation is in one way or another an abuse of individual talents and callings. Yes, Rutembana.
See, I think the decisions that our parents make for us, there are 2 factors, if I may say. One is that no one knows the future. So whatever we do, it's a gamble. You're not sure if it's going to work, but you just based on let's say on facts that are present, and then you try to guide your child through that direction, and hoping that maybe in future your child will become successful in that direction that you've guided your child. So me, there are 2 things. One is the information that the parent has at hand. There are some parents who strongly believe that for my child to succeed, my child needs to have education. And that parent would do whatever it takes to make sure that child gets education. And they even go further. The ones who are better informed, they go ahead to direct their children to study certain courses because of the information that parent has. Maybe there's a person in their village who has become successful, and that person is a lawyer. So that parent will try and work hard to ensure that his child becomes a lawyer like Mr. So-and-so. So that is the first one. So the existing information, you see, you have a 2-year-old, and the work that you're doing on a 2-year-old is based on the current circumstances at that time. But then you're preparing this child for 30 years to come. So the preparation is based on the existing information, but then you're preparing this child for the future. Then the other aspect is no one knows about the future, so we just gamble. So some parents do that gambling. They whatever information they have which is present, then they work towards that, and it's a gamble. Now the limited knowledge about the future, or what we call uncertainty, and that unpredictability is the analysis that comes after. Now someone will be like, but did he make the right decision, or did he make the wrong choice? But the question that we're asking is that we have limited knowledge. Had this person known the future, maybe you would have made a better and informed decision. But because of the uncertainty of the future and our limitedness to know about tomorrow, it becomes a very complex analysis for you to analyze, to say that. I'll give an example. Bebe Cool, let me give an example. Bebe Cool is Vidansari's son. I'm told that at some point, Vidansari called Bebe Cool a bastard because Bebe Cool had become, he was studying in Marcos. He abandoned his course to go and pursue his passion of becoming a musician. And of course, that was not going well with his father by the time, who was a minister and a very, very respected person, because music was considered for people who are failures. But if you ask Vedansari now, would he be comfortable to make the same analysis that he made 40 years ago? So that is where the issue is. So whereas parents may want to take you in a certain direction, they don't know what the future is holding. And then, so let me stop here for now. I hope you can understand my point.
Yes, I really follow your points. First, we don't know the future. Second, we have limited information. And because we have limited information, so we decide to misuse and be lazy with the little information that we have. Because really, why does a pastor think that for anyone to be successful in life, they have to be a pastor as well? And knowing very well that the people that pastor ministers to, who actually give the biggest tithe, are not pastors. Why is the pastor inspiring their child into pastoral ministry and not letting the child be any of the congregants? Because all the congregants are not pastors. So why are you limiting your child to pastoral ministry? Is it because you want them to continue it? Why are we subjecting other independent beings whom we don't even share a fingerprint? Why do we want them to continue with ours and become our photocopies? Well, I understand there are some actually who have the same calling. For instance, Mr. Miyaya just gave us an example of Charles Stanley's boy, who also, according to Mr. Muyanja, he sees that he is also a minister and a pastor. Well and good. How about those who are not, who are just forcing it? I understand that modern churches are private businesses, which is also absurd. But even if it were a business, if your father is selling drinks and has made a fortune out of selling drinks, must all the children sell drinks? There was a Macarena here, a man who was selling pancakes here in Kampala, very famous Macarena. Should all Macarena children sell pancakes just because Macarena got successful with the pancakes? Isn't that abusing the limited information that we have? For me, I think the problem is not the limited information that we have. The problem is, have we interpreted the limited information we have right, so that we can apply it in a better way? Reverend Raymond, you Can you talk? Okay. Just as you're welcome, long time, where have you been? You've missed like 3 sessions. Yes, Reverend?
Thank you very
Okay.
much. I've been I've been so much busy. But
Okay.
today I found some minutes and I said, let me get in and listen in. But thank
Okay.
you. I'm following up on Telegram.
Thank you. You're welcome. I hope you saw the topic, so that's what we are dealing with. Reverend, can you talk?
Yes, sir, I can. Good evening.
Good evening to you.
How are you, everyone? Yes, at first when I looked at the topic, I have to confess, I said, okay, if I get a chance, I'll log on, but I wasn't sure what the direction it was going to take, and I wasn't even sure what were my personal thoughts. I saw it a little late. I've had quite a week. I have 7 kids. 6 will be going back to school on Sunday. They're in boarding school. Now, I have listened in, and thank you all the previous contributors. I've been, in fact, intrigued because I'm thinking, do we even as parents, do I even understand my role fully? Because we live in a world where, like now in my situation, time with a tool say, I have to only 3 weeks. My mind, I'm thinking, they have to go back. I need to have the money in place. I need to have ABCD in place. And I also need to work. I have to deliver at my job, and among other things. And there is this daily pressure for us to make sure that life happens. In other words, we end up simply surviving, existing, among other things, but not being effective in both our identity and role. And the question I had within me is my own personal identity as Raymond Bukenya, as a father to my kids. 2, that is my identity worth passing on, or is it what I've passed on now? Obviously, DNA, I don't get to decide to the extent to which I pass it on. It's a natural process. But then there is a natural process to humans. And that natural process comes with many things. And me, who is guided by the Bible, I see patterns. I see that there has to be intentionality, but also that intentionality is packaged within knowing self. Who am I? What exactly defines a Bukenya? So my kids are called Bukenyas, and before they go to school, we talk about who we are, and therefore when they go out there, they are representing the entire family, each one of them, and together they're in one school, and we talk about it. We talk about this, and we say, this is who we are. And when you go out there, you mess up, you are misrepresenting us. Not that we Bukenyas don't make mistakes, but it's possible you will misrepresent us in certain mistakes. So please, also when you do well, you are representing us. Not that we are perfect per se, but that's the values. Those are the values we subscribe to, but aspire to as well. Kati, while we do and say that, what exactly are we? That my child, will show up in a space and no one is surprised about who they are because they know that's Cebu Kenya. Now, we can assume that these things are passed on because we're in family setup, but as you've said earlier, talked about pastors and leaders, who doesn't know that actually me as a pastor, I know very well that pastors' children can be a mess. Like we know many stories. Of course, there'll be a pastor's child who will come out fairly well, also probably follow the father, or these days we have female pastors as well. But they follow the father and work with the father, even desire to take on the calling, whether personal or in the following of the Father. Some of you have even on the extreme side of the discussion, you've heard about TD Jakes passing on the mantle And you notice that he didn't pass it on to his son, but rather to his daughter and her husband, Ochitegera. The idea was to pass it on to his daughter, but because he can't give it to the daughter, he had to pass it on to her husband. So the two, as a couple, then would lead the church. But then I look at what about the other children? What about pastors who have children who actually go wayward completely, nothing to do with their father? And they in fact, if you're to use the worst language, they're a disgrace, they're a disappointment, as the Proverbs writer Solomon says, that even the father doesn't have the courage to show up at the gates of the city because of what is known about the son. Hence, where am I going with this? That I felt within me a serious challenge to say, wait a minute, if I pass on something, is it my true identity? Or actually, as you will notice, that there are some parents who, even though they have had a good career, they dreamed of having a particular career, and therefore they train their child and channel them or direct them into a career that they themselves would have desired. And you probably have heard that the parents who leave, who by extension push their children to leave or get into the careers that they themselves would have wished into. Olinga yagala kubeera lawyer n'atasobola, n'abeera musomesa n'agamba ngenda somesa omwana wange paka bwana afuuka lawyer, ngenda somesa omwana wange paka bwana afuuka omusawo, naye nga ye si kye yafuuka. Now we've come to this category of parents who, by virtue of their quote unquote successful careers or specific careers, leadership, whatever it is, maybe lucrative, or they have the power to push their kids to become like them. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they have identified who they are. My personal struggle is, who am I exactly? And is this what I'm supposed to be passing on to my kids? Because inevitably, there's a lot that kids take on by nature. They take on genealogy, and I think that's inescapable. But when it comes to nurture and what they finally become, even when it comes to demeanor or personality, nze mu S6 bali bagenda kungoba ku ssomero kuba nalina cornrows. Some of you who see me nekiwala tamuyinza olowooza nali siina nviiri, nalina afro nga nsiba cornrows buli week. Bwe bali bagenda kungoba nembuuka ekikomera nenziruka, headmaster wanted to cut off my hair nga tebazisumuludde nazisumula, nga ayagala kuleeta mashini bazisaleko. I jumped over the fence and I disappeared from the school for the whole weekend. They called my dad to school. The headmaster looked at my dad and he looked at me. He couldn't believe. We looked alike, but we were two different people. My dad is calm, ayogeza mirembe, he's very reasonable. Nga nze ndi mu byange, nze nagamba, but you, man, you look at your father. How do you be this stubborn? Nga taata wo mukkakkamu bw'ati. There is a difference in many ways as per how parents are and how kids tend to be, and sometimes how they turn out. But I think when we know who we are, and I thank God that when I came to Christ, there's been a lot of change and transformation in me, that I can sit down with my kids and have a conversation of my personal journey and who I've seen God, turn me out to be, and what I desire for them. Are they independent individuals? Definitely. They have independent minds, they make independent decisions, and they pursue different careers. I love mathematics. I'm an engineer by training from Chambogo. I know two of my kids love mathematics. They are brilliant. And one of them actually has now come onto computers, is really good with gadgets. And he's every time at school he's getting 100% in computer. Will I tell him, no, I'm a pastor. Young man, you need to pursue theology. I can't do that to him. I want to leave him to pursue the path that God has given to him as an individual. What is left for me is to create an atmosphere that, one, inspires him, but also spurs, encourages, in terms of values rather than specific career. And that is me, my personal journey. Oba mukama ananfula kireeta nga nkuze. We have clergy who insist that their children should also become clergy, and they force them to. But I feel lindako njagala concludinga I think
Thank you,
kyetudi lindako naawe obadde otya njagala concludinga ngenda ku concludinga I think what we are faced with is a foreignness, a foreign idea that a person who has misunderstood even their own identity and career then decides that that is the standard for others. Okitegeera omuntu nga gw'olowoozeza or misperceiving or misunderstanding eyo. So a leader, and kati wano bamutwala munsibe. A general in the army assumes that also his son or his child has to become a general in the army. I'm persuaded that that could actually be those isolated or outstanding, examples in our society that bring us to this point where we are cautious, because obviously we know that people are independent, are individuals, and that's why ne bw'oba olokoka personally obulokole bwange si obulokole bw'omwana wange. Omwana wange ogwange kumubuulira njiri n'agiwulira n'agitegeera n'agikkiriza.
Reverend, that will be enough. You'll come back.
Tewali mutawaana. Thank you very much.
I think the Reverend makes pertinent points. There are quite a number of them. He's a long-winded speaker, but we can first of all pick the fundamental idea which I was struggling with earlier on. Number one, he started by asking a very fundamental question that all parents should be asking. Not only parents, but even mentors should be asking. Before you mentor someone into a profession or a calling, do you even understand that calling itself? Because some of us have inspired people into things that we do not understand ourselves. That's number one. Number two, as parents, do we look at our children as independent individuals with specific callings that might actually differ from ours? Why does General Museveni, the president of Uganda, think that his son should also be a soldier, number one, be a general like his father, number two, and eventually, Tom, can you mute, please? Arion, can you mute? Arion, can you mute? Reverend, can you mute this brother? Devil is a liar. Reverend, can you mute this man?
Yeah, let me try. Who is that?
Yes, you mute him.
Call him.
Arion.
Reverend, you are the host. Mute that guy.
I have muted him. Hey, how did I become host?
Jesus Christ.
How did I become host?
Yeah, you should be watching. You are the host. Now,
I didn't realize I'm host. That's interesting.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
So we are saying that why does General Museveni think that his son should be a soldier, like he's a soldier, and then should also become a general, like the father is a general, and eventually become the president? Or let me ask the question the other way around. Why does General Muhoozi think that he should be a soldier like his father is, be a general like his father is, and later on take on this country and become the president like his father was? Why? Why? At the neighborhood, there is another president who has got two sons. And one of them is like General Muhoozi. He's doing everything that his father does. And another is on the streets. He's always walking on the streets without security, with with nothing. talking to the citizens, eating in each and every hotel he wants. He's all right. And one of the things that I like about the father with that boy, I don't know whether he's bitter with him or not, he has let him be. Well, whenever there is a national function, the boy stands with the family. But whenever that function is done, he drives off and, he goes to the streets or wherever he came from. So isn't it high time that we started being careful with sometimes dragging our children into our callings, and in other times disabusing our abused children who dream who we are and who turn who we are into a career, etc., etc. Muyanja, I want to come back. Mr. Muyanja, are you there? Okay, that's right. That's right. I've seen your message. Rutembana, Professor Selvide, can you talk?
Isaiah,
Yes.
me, I have two issues. You see,
Yes.
when God gives us these children, they don't come with He doesn't send to us a menu or an agreement of what we're supposed to do with them. He just leaves it to us. And he says, I've given you these children. And he doesn't say anything. So you're supposed to raise these children in a fashion or in a way that you know. Now, what fashion do you know? It is the background where you're coming from. I'll give an example. If let's say, even me myself right now, when I'm thinking about the future of my children, I'm thinking about them becoming accountants like me, because that's all I know. And I'm convinced that maybe that's the best profession. That's a much easier profession to deal with. So that is the head that I have. And trust me, when it comes to their bringing and nurturing, I'm going to nurture them in that direction. So I started by saying, I think we all gamble with the future. We don't know what the future has. We just gamble with it because of our limited information. So if God was kind enough that at the time when you're giving birth, he comes and speaks to you like he did to Mary and maybe Elizabeth, and he tells them, I'm giving you this child. This is what I need this child to be. But because he keeps silent, we all use the knowledge and the resources and whatever we have to raise this child. Now, whether we make mistakes, whether we get it right, it is because of the limited information that we are using. Thank you.
Now, I told my son, the eldest, that I don't want him to become a pastor. That is what
Why?
I told him.
Why?
For two reasons. One, I looked at him and didn't see anything like that in his life. He's now 17 years. I can tell that that boy of mine, there's nothing in him like being a minister in the church. I could be wrong, but that is what I saw. So I forbid him to be that. And I told him that he shouldn't be like me. He should sit down with himself and find out exactly what he wants to be. Okay. Now, by doing that, I was actually helping myself not to gag him with my calling. So for me, I think it is unfair for us parents to use limited information as an excuse to abuse other people's careers, and by other people, I mean our children.
And Kata Isaiah, you see the decision that you took, it probably maybe it's also a gamble. You don't have okay, for you say that you saw that he's probably not he doesn't have traits of a minister. But if calling is from God himself, how about if God has put those traits on him and you didn't see them?
Yeah, but you see, the difference between me and my son is that I have the abilities to see the traits as early as 9 years, that this one will be a minister. As at least in my field, I can tell that this one is a minister, this one is not. I can tell that this one is looking for food, this one has a calling on his life. And that is the number one responsibility of being a parent person. We do not expect God to come and open the skies and print and turn the skies into a projector and print everything there in details and bulleted. ABC, this is what your child is going to be, ABCD. Because you see, Pedson, even the Mary and Joseph, who were told by an angel, they had issues with that very son when he started doing and being what the angel told them that he was to be. They had issues. I can assure you, Peterson, even if God came and told you and gave you the ABC of your child, people would still contend and fight against that. That is in the nature of our fallenness. The bigger question, however, here is that we should be asking, do we have the ability as parents to let people, and by people here we mean children, be who they were made to be, regardless of what we know? Because it seems like what we know has become the palette and the framework of these new entrants in this life.
That's true.
Yes, and I think we should try also and review what has worked for so long. Yes, it might have worked. Uhuru became the president after his father was the president. Bush became the president after his father was the president. Muhoozi might become the president after his father was the president. But just because these things have happened, some people sit in their beds, and I can tell you, late in the night, and they are like, I don't think this is what I was meant to do. After these children have finished school, I will go and do what I want, what I'm cut for. You know, it really works like that. Yes, Bob, I saw your
Because
message.
now the question is, is what we do, is it nature or it is nurtured? Like, can I say that did God create Museveni to be the president, or Museveni was nurtured into that?
Well, it depends on an individual. I don't want to use nature. I want to use calling. Yeah, it depends on an individual. Some individuals are called and cut for that. Others are just trained for that. Others are just there for food and for survival. But others are cut for the same thing. And you can tell the difference, by the way, in how they do their things. It is not so difficult for you to tell that this person has a calling for this, and this one is just trained. This one is just a machinery in the field. It is not, I don't think it is difficult. Professor Serubide, you want to come in? You've been silent for a while.
My father, my birth father, Mr. Omara Francis Kadu, is an accountant by career. He was a teacher by occupation, but also a farmer by passion. My father is a bookworm. He has a library of books, and I grew up seeing him read books. He has read books, and I'm now 41 years old. and I'm not his firstborn. Meaning he has been reading books. In fact, he has read books ever since I understood, ever since I recognized that I was his son. And as I speak now, he's still reading. His sight is a little foggy, but he's still reading. Last year, I sent him a book, Righteousness of Faith, by Professor Mugerwa. And I think I sent it, and I think I took it in December. As I speak now, we are discussing it. He has read almost from cover to cover and is repeating, revising it, and so on and so on. He gave birth to 7 children. 2, unfortunately, are dead, but 5 are living. But out of the 5, number 1, there is no accountant. Out of the 5, there is a teacher. Out of the 5, there is no farmer. Out of the 5, there is one who loves books like he does. But I don't remember him inculcating that. But as we grew up, I remember we used to go to the garden. We used to go gardening. We used to go farming. And we saw how beneficial farming was, because in fact, 90% of our school fees were raised from farming, from gardening. The food, the health, and so on. Now, my father also was a Seventh-day Adventist, and my mother too. And they nurtured us into the God as understood in the lenses of the Seventh-day Adventists. As I speak today, 2 of his children, as I can say, they are Seventh-day Adventists. The other 2 are half SDA, half Catholic because of our mother. And the 5th is neither. It's not SDA, it's not Catholic, he's a Christian. But what my father did, I don't think there is an influence. My father exposed us to all those worlds. He exposed us to school, exposed us to farming, he exposed us to reading, but never invited us to these phenomena. He never invited us. He only exposed us to them. And we are different. As we speak now, we are different. My point here, my initial point, when I'm called upon after, I don't want to take a lion's share. My point here is that I think it begins with the attitude of the term my child or my son, my daughter, what that term means. From our continuous learning in Truth and in Spirit World of Worship Fellowship, we have come to realize and learn that these are not our children. They are not our sons. They are not our daughters. These are only human beings under our care for a time. Under our care for a time. They are individual humans under our care who have a life of their own as projected in their own preset by God. Our duty is to expose them to the values we think we have. And the utmost value, because I'm Christian and biased towards that, is the God we've understood. I named the child under our custody, Mary and I named that child Dineta. And that name has sent shockwaves everywhere in the community. First at in our family, our relatives, neighborhood, and wherever we go. It sends shockwaves that I named that child Dineta. 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was taken to task to explain what I mean and what I was thinking. Because they say that when this child comes of age, they will drop the name. And I told them I have no problem if she dropped the name. But my purpose was to have an opportunity of a pulpit in the heart of this child. That one day, this child will ask me why I named her that. Religion kills, Dineta. And I will use that as a pulpit to share my experience with her. Now, the decisions are hers, not mine. I also told my questioners or my interviewers that I named that child to have an opportunity to share my history with the God who met me, or with the God I met. So that name is just a provocative means to find a pulpit to historicize my life. My point here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying that these are human beings like we are, under our care. Our work, I want to think, that is to expose them to the values we've understood, but not to campaign. We only need not to campaign for what we have done, or not to decampaign our failures. So I think there are crossroads here. Decampaigning our failures and campaigning for what we have perceived as our successes. But to me, I want to think that the greatest inheritance are the values, beginning with the utmost value, the God who has revealed himself towards us. And then the values we have captured from our cultures. And give the children, or give these human beings, freedom to choose on their own. If my brother, Mr. Muhozi Kinerugawa, thinks that that's what he should do, if he can, let him do. If not under duress or psychological manipulation of the parent. So I don't know, we need to steer clear of our psychological, sociological, philosophical manipulations on these human beings we have called our children, and just expose them and let them choose when they are able to choose. So I think Pastor White should only expose the child to different areas of life. Of course, beginning with what Pastor White is. He's a pastor, he's a theologian, he's a social critic, he's a thinker, which to me are wonderful things. But if my little boy, Divine, chooses otherwise, after having been exposed to that, I think we should let him be. But this hereditary leadership, no. I am a Muganda, and you know that, and I love my Kabaka, and I'm always hesitant to go against what my Kabaka and my Buganda stands for. But I don't think it is right for Semako Okiro to become hereditary. If Semako Okiro doesn't want to be king, let other things happen. So I think.
Okay.
I submit for now. I'll
Thank
come
you.
back when opportunity shows itself.
Thank you so much. You see, there's something that Rutembana hinted about, nurturing. And I think the problem are the nurturing centers that we have created, which have become so captivating to our innocent and gullible children of ours, because our children are gullible. they fall into what earlier on Mr. Muyanja said, cat sees, cat does. So because cat
Monkey
sees,
see, monkey do. Monkey see,
monkey,
monkey do.
okay, monkey see, monkey do. Because monkey see, monkey do, therefore, we must be careful with what monkey sees. And I think that's where Professor Serwide comes in handy. What are you exposing your monkey to? Are you only exposing your monkey to yourself? And why are you doing that? Why are you overprotective? Just because you are a teacher and you are Lawrence Mulindwa, and you have made a fortune in schools. So you want the Lawrence Mulindwa Jr. also to be a teacher, and so that he can manage the fortune after your demise. Are you sure Lawrence Mulindwa Jr. has got the connections, has got the environment, has got the opportunities, has got the talents, has got the abilities that Lawrence Mulindwa Sr. has? Or just because he's Lawrence Mulindwa Jr., therefore, he can go as far as even managing a football club, building a stadium, you see, and having a school where each student pays not less than 4 million shillings. Do you see how we parents think? Why do we think that because they are our children, they can, one, be us, and two, if they even fail to be us, they can manage what we have done? Why? Why do we have this paranoia of exposing our children to the fields and to the worlds that we do not know and do not understand? Maybe they could even understand it better than us, or not actually even better, different. I don't believe in better, I believe in differences. So why? Yes, Miyanja.
I wanted to just submit quickly also.
Yes.
Dynamics or societies and the way they view things changes. Okay, we all know some people have, because they have had people confront them for having many kids. When they gave a birth to someone, for another kid, they named them Musajja Tagerera Answaro, you know.
Mm.
And this the kid's name Musajja Tagerera Answaro waliwandika ne ku official names ze. Now, when this was during the days of Abasajja bazaala abaana nga kino kikumi and all that. Now, today the society is, when you have so many kids, it kind of looks negative. Okay.
Which is
Now,
wrong.
the kid who has Musajja Tagerera Nzaro, are they gonna have as many kids as you had because you named them? Getting back to someone, and I just wanted to have a quick comment in regards to Dean Yetta's message. We have to be careful, because sometimes when we want to put a message and we are using these little ones, we have to be very careful, because their interpretation of the way you interpret that message may be different and may rub or may grow up, and it rubs them the completely wrong way, or leads them in a completely different direction, whereby for them they will see a dini and atheism, and they will say, "I dini yet, let me become an atheist, an unbeliever at all." So I'm just saying, sometimes we have to be careful. I just wanted to make this point that every parent wants their kid to succeed. Isn't that true?
Mm.
And would they do whatever they do based on the experience they have gone through? As Pastor, you indicated to us, for example, you looked at your kid, you didn't see maybe they have it cut out to be a pastor. Now you are looking at your kid and you are interpreting life for them with your own experience, and you are kind of forging or kind of telling them the future is like this, don't go this way. Okay. The first speaker submitted to us that it's very hard. I think it was the first or second speaker that we can't tell the future. Now, one of the greatest pastors who ever lived, who I know, is a guy called Billy Graham. You know, who up to today we read about him. We still see his sermons on TV. People just watch his sermons and they give their life to Christ. You know, whichever way you want to view him. But his life, he graduated as an anthropologist. You know, he grew up from a farming family. So later when he converts and gets that calling, no one would probably have known when he was a teenager or when he was a kid that he would even become this greatest preacher we now have heard or have seen on our TVs. So it is very hard to tell the future. So today, if my kid wanted to be a soldier in UPDF in Uganda, even when I have my reservations of the picture I see of an army general in Uganda, and I want to tell him, no, you cannot become a soldier, I can't, you know, because I don't know what God has in future for this kid. All I can do is instill in them the values that Mr. Selvide has been talking about, the core values. And in the end, it is they just try and support them to be a happy human being. You know, we grew up looking at careers like doctor, lawyer, you know, whatever, engineer, as the successful, in quote, successful careers, where if someone became a doctor, their future was secure. And our parents were pushing us, become a doctor, become a lawyer, because they saw these people as people who had success, who were successful, and they wanted us to be successful. Simububi, okay? Naye ddala a top lawyer or judge or doctor, are they really happy? Even as their career may be a success, are they really happy? As opposed to a guy who is, you know, in Chikubo there, or who is akuba buloka ze wali nga talina sente nyingi, but they are happy, you know, and they have these values. So we need to look at these things all around. But the most important thing is to allow our kids or push our kids in their heart's desire such that they can be happy with what they are doing, not to push them in successful careers that are going to make them miserable with life. So this is what I wanted to bring up, that as we nurture our kids into whatever they want to be. So I always like to ask my kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they tell me, I want to be this. Then I follow them up with a question, why? You know, because the reason they give can lead me to either counsel them or give them more information that maybe their why is not as strong, that when they grow up, this why they are using for now may have changed. So this is what I wanted to submit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Muyanja. Well, now, Reverend, do you want to come back after all these submissions?
Indeed, indeed. I'm so glad that this conversation is happening. I will soon go off because 9:30 is when my family and I gather, or rather 7:30.
You're late.
Study the word together and pray together. But I think this is a good conversation as far as I'm seeing it. And one of my parting remarks would be, if you examine this closely, it's a complicated dynamic, because what we are assessing it, especially from the fallen side, where there's a power issue. So for most parents, like if you look at the biblical story of Saul and David and Jonathan, for Saul, he's very committed to kill David. Why? Because he has to protect the throne for who? For Jonathan. Exactly. And yet Jonathan has already identified that it's not him. But because Saul feels he has the power, he's king anyway. He can do anything to destroy any threat to what his son would be, because it wasn't merely a threat. David wasn't merely a threat to Saul, but to the entire lineage in the throne. which of course would have been in a monarchy, it would have been Jonathan or any of his or any of Saul's other sons. And so what we see here is the power to make my child what I would want my child to be. The power to show the world that I can pull this off, and that can happen. On the other hand, obviously, it can be a good thing if that power is exercised without also taking away the dignity of the one whom you want to make. I had the privilege of studying in the UK, and one time leaving Oxford, going to the University of St Andrews in Scotland, and I met this brilliant young man studying mathematics, and he told me, by the way, this is not my part. I noticed he was a brilliant DJ as well. He loved music. His room was clearly for a musician. The instruments were there, the keyboard, the studio. There was a proper studio in his room. And he said, I'm doing this degree for my parents, mathematics for his parents. And he said, when I'm done, I'm going to do a master's in something to do with music. I was like, what? In Uganda? Also mathematics bachelors. Of course, twina n'olugezigezi tuba tulowooza gw'osinga okuba wakabi kubanga man kusoma mathematics at that level obeera wakabi one in Uganda. That's what we think. And so ignorance is very bad because we are so ignorant of the many other careers out there and what could come out of children. We think we have drawn boxes, and I think this point has come out many times tonight. Our ignorance is so terrible. And I will end with the Jews. The Jews by default were shepherds, right? Keepers of livestock, and that's how they identify themselves when they enter Egypt. But that's not the entirety of the Jews. Not all of them actually were able to be shepherds. In fact, on their journey, God would soon show them that there were people, many others amongst them, who had different skills. And one of the times that you can see that is when they're constructing the tent in the wilderness, where they were constructing the tabernacle. And God had skilled particular people who would also mentor and train others to do that which was meant to be done. And so, but because we have power, by default, we could just say, I am a shepherd, and that's why David was also becoming a shepherd. I'm a shepherd, and therefore you're going to take care of my sheep. But then Saul has power to take some of your kids and make them his soldiers. So you see the power dynamic. Those who have power, like of money, will lure your kids into professions that will give them money, like you put it, priest, that there are people who are into particular careers because of the money. I wanted to become a lawyer because I thought there was money into it. Then I know because I thought it was prestigious. Then I actually pursued engineering to university because I thought I was going to make money. And then I saw the money wasn't coming. Nintendo would be material, which and that wasn't my destination. But I do have an undergrad from Chambogo, that I no longer use. So those were power, money as a form of power, lure our kids into careers that aren't really theirs. And those who worship at the altar of prestigious titles of education also lure, that's a form of power. They lure our kids into studying stuff that isn't really theirs. But then also as parents, because we also worship that similar power, we force our kids to pursue that because that's what we think is going to make them powerful. So I think there's a power issue here, a power dynamic here in my assessment. Allow me to end there. I'm 10 minutes late into as nkomuwulira engoma mu background batandise muziki tutandika na muziki n'engoma awo naye kuba natumala tuyongera. But thank you very much. I look forward to listening again.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you. May God bless you.
God bless you too.
All right then. Right. Okay. That's really interesting, and I think it is interesting. So should Rutembana, what about the pastor's wife or the company director's wife? Rutembana, should the pastor's wife also be a pastor? Should the director's wife also be a director and a manager? What do you think? Because you guys decided that your mother be the minister, get a ministerial post. Was that because she's the wife to, or because she actually qualified and she had a calling? Or it was because the Lord showed her? The man, have I lost you? Okay. Okay, Arion, can you talk? The last time we heard from you, it was chaos. All right.
I think, Isaiah,
Yes.
that is business. For example, Isaiah, if you had a mega church, okay, you had this church with the thousands of believers that come every Sunday, they kusonda chimu cha kumi and all that, and you know you're using that to have a successful life. What are the chances that you would inspire your kid to take over that mega church? Okay,
The issue is, would I be right or wrong? That's what I'm asking. I'm not asking what
you would be right as a parent, okay, in the definition of you wanting your son to be successful. Remember what I submitted about all parents want their kids to be successful.
But Mr.
So if I want my
that is wrong. It is wrong. It is
yeah,
not right.
yeah. So what I'm saying is,
It is
okay,
wrong as a business person. It is wrong as a parent. It is just wrong to put unqualified people into things just because you want to be safe and protect your fortune. Don't you think?
yes, it is. But what I'm saying that what people do is, if it's a business and they want that business to continue within the family, okay, those are the moves they make. They make their sons or daughters to be.
Is it right or wrong to put unqualified people into business structures just because they are family? Is it right or wrong?
I think the end can justify the means. The end can justify the means.
Okay, thank you.
I can criticize you for putting you, if you put your son into your business and we don't think he's qualified, but then he runs it successfully and it's 10x's. So what do we say about that?
Then that son is qualified. We are talking about putting someone there who is not qualified.
So how do you know that the person is qualified or not?
Okay,
that is another area.
We have something to start with. At least the papers from the academic world. Let's start from there. We need somewhere to start from. Jethro, can you talk? Chairman, are you there? Hey. So we have the chairman listening in. I don't know whether he can even hear us. We have Mr. Ryong also listening in. We pray that he's also listening in. Okay. Professor, can you talk?
Yes.
Should you, in the business context, what is there is what is safer and what is right. What is safer is making sure that your children, your wife, your in-laws are in charge of the business. That is safer. We're asking whether what is safe is always right.
I think it is the ecclesiast. I think that's the word. The ecclesiast in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 says that the dead have no share, they have no say in the life of the living. But we have always violated that. Why do we want to project and extrapolate our dead selves into the business of the living?
How do you mean? How do you mean? Please.
Why is it our concern of of the life and the health of our business after we are not in the business, after we are dead. I mean, why must Dineta inherit my book business? What motivates that in all parents?
Because we want our children to be safe after we are dead. We want to protect them even when we are dead. You are Muganda. You know very well that you even go and renovate the graveyard because of the blessings. In our yes, in our understanding, people don't die; they live on in different versions. So that's why we want to take care of our children. You know, the ancestor bliss. You need the ancestor bliss on you.
We probably we can use the few minutes if we do have them here to debate or to discuss the Madivan phenomenon, Luperelia phenomenon, Bedford or Ford phenomenon. What can we say about them? And the monarchical phenomenon. What have those phenomena to tell us about inheritance?
What do you think they have to tell us?
To me, I think we rob other human beings of their ability to reproduce. I'm failing to have better words in English. Because if Semakokiro becomes king, and he has become king because culture says so, when will Semakokiro be Semakokiro? If Rajiv Luperelia becomes the 10th generation Luperelia, haven't we robbed of Rajiv to be Rajiv?
We can't risk letting Rajiv be himself. He might hurt himself. It is our responsibility as his parent to protect him by putting around him nurturing structures and centers that are going to manipulate who he is into who we are, because who we are is safe. That is our thinking.
Now we have a problem with that. Now we have a really
can I comment, Isaiah?
You give information, Professor. Professor, there is your information.
Yeah, so okay, I just wanted to bring that, like, when you brought up Rajiv and what money does to you, money just gives you time and freedom to do what you want. So if you have money, then you can take off the time and do your passions. This is why people like Rajiv have been able to drive Larry cars. They've been able to, do whatever they want, because they don't have to worry about money. Okay. So this is something which I wanted. The Rockefellers of this world, they set up their systems. You may find that the son of Rockefeller can go and become a space neuroscientist without worrying about their money issue. Money is not an issue to them. So, but as long as you're in setup like Africa, where poverty is and money is the center of everything that you do, you will want to pass the entire business to your son and have them manage it.
Professor, have you had the paranoia and the fear? We are afraid parents. Bob, had you made your point? I just wanted to give you that information.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are afraid parents, Mr. Serubide, so we cannot risk.
Like I said before, in my earlier submission, my initial submission, that
your was not did not want to, they will not. But if you nurture them to take over it, they will take over it, and if it's not their calling, they will leave it there in future and do their other thing. This is what some rich people have experienced. They have told their kids to study medicine or whatever, and then once the guy finishes his medicine, say, "Daddy, degree yo, That is life.
But that is a sign that you failed as a parent in the first place. Continue, Professor.
And you know, yes, and you know, like I said before, the crux of the matter here is in my omwana wange.
Turning a person into a property.
This wange. You know, I mean, who told you that you must project yourself on the other human being? I mean, look here, Christians, look here. We have an omnipotent God. We have an omnipotent God. But this God, at least who has revealed himself, we don't have any other one who has revealed themselves to us. But the God who has revealed himself to us has revealed himself as sovereign and omnipotent. But he has never projected himself on us. And he's our great parent. He's our mother. He's our daddy. You know, but the guy comes here and we say, look, there is life here. There is death here. Life came like this. Death came like this. I would wish that you choose life, but I leave you to your devices. You know, you look at that model. You look at that conceptual framework. Kubanga Katonda ono w'amaanyi w'ekitala ali sovereign. Ate ansaba atya? Ate Peter, kati bw'onzikiriza, you know, this God just exposed us to information and to realities. You know, you say, you know what, my children, there is death here. There is life here. When you rely on me, life is here. When you choose any other person other than me, there is death here. So, but I recommend, I remember that in Deuteronomy, I say, you know, guys, I recommend that you choose life. I mean, if I were this kind of parent, what is this parent doing and saying? So I insist, as I conclude, that let us just expose and let us have a transformed attitude. These are not our. No, they're simply humans or little humans who have not yet been able to fend for themselves psychologically, socially, financially, physiologically, that it is now our responsibility to do that to a certain level and then let them be. Naye kakati g'okulowooza kubanga oli musumba theology ne divine akole theology kubanga gwe servidde oyagala bya scholarship, you want your professor, you do PhD research, and therefore the dean must do that because every parent wants to be. What is success? When we say every parent wants their children to be successful, what word frames our definition of success? I want to pause there.
Every parent has their definition. So whatever that parent thinks is success, is what they will take decision based on that. Yeah.
But your responsibility, Mr. Muyanja, is now to help us. Is every parent right? Don't we have principles of parenting? Or we leave it to relativity? Because if we leave it to relativity, then what is the essence of this discussion?
Yes, this is what I'm trying to say, is that parents do take decisions they take based on the information they have. Okay. Now, that's why as parents we need to educate ourselves. We need to know better. What I think I know today is not exactly the limit of everything. As I told you, we grew up when our parents were saying doctors, lawyers are the only ones who are success engineers. And I told you that for me, even the guy akuba walia gundi amatafari can be successful in their own way. So that's why I'm saying that we have to inform ourselves of what would define as success, and that really determines a lot of what we direct our kids into, or how we help them get into their future.
Waliwo omuzadde waffe omu yatugamba nga tugamba olina abaana bameka gwe olina omu oli mugayaavu olina babiri oli mugayaavu baana bange muzaale, and then we were explaining how hard it is to fend for them and then put them in school and so on. And this parent of ours asked, ani abagamba nti buli muntu alina kusoma? I'll never forget. I'm always thinking about that. Ani abagamba nti omwana alina kuba na profession.
Academics.
Wakati muyanja virologist, he's looking to omwana omu naye abeere nga wa virology. Our success. Kubanga akulidde mu nsi eya success nga ya kugula poloti ozimbe ennyumba oteekawo n'ennyumba z'abapangisa. Kati naye ayagala okulaba omwana ng'azimba ennyumba z'abapangisa awo. At the success. And so on. And we are always stressed, by the way. Omwana bamugoba school fees, we get stressed. But have we ever sat down to question our stress, by the way? Ebintu ebitustressing kubana abantu betuyita abaana baffe. Twali tutuddeko. For example, I have a child leero omwana omuyizi namusomesa 2017, graduated 2019. So she has a little brother. Gwe yabadde ayagala to a career guidance and so on. Nga agamba ayagala ku applyinga course esobola okumuwa omulimo. That was his statement. Nyangala mpa ku magezi nkole course ki, nakola history, economics ne geography. Sobola kati kola course ki eyinza okumpa omulimu amangu. And when I was talking back to him, namusoose mwawulira nti there is a difference between work and job. Nemugamba nti work is anything you do that transforms you, those around you, and your environment. Nemugamba nti job, on the contrary, is reward conditioned work. But with job, you don't have a say. The rewarder has a say. Gwe kyosobola okukola kweteekerateekera kukola, si kweteekerateekera kufuna mulimu. Gwe weeteekereteekera okukola.
Professor, our time is up.
Yes. So my point is, let us prepare the children to meet the world they live in and enable them make their own choices, just like our archfather and dad and mommy, God, does it. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Mr. Muyanja, your parting shots. Sandra, you're welcome. You're late. We are giving our parting shots.
I think that's it. That as Mr. Servida has put it, give them values that will enable them to be in any career or profession they can be. I cannot limit my kids on any career they can be. I can only give them the values that will enhance whichever career they fit in, and I can guide them to tell them, okay, you are choosing this career, but the job, if you're looking to future for, that's why I asked that question, why? If they choose a career, ask them why. Because if they want to make money in that career, you can tell them as well to just do business, because all the richest or successful people in terms of money, they are business people. They are having products, not like they're in professionals. So the why is very important, such that even when they are facing hard times, they are able to stay within that professional career because their why was stronger than the circumstance that they may face or the hardships. Yeah.
That is an important question. Why? Gentlemen and ladies, thank you so much for the wisdom, for the time, for the commitment. May God bless you. We shall be here next Monday, and our moderator will tell us what will be running. It's good to have you. Mr. Muyanja, thank you for your commitment. Reverend Tangazo, thank you. Our chairman has struggled with the internet. Sandra, my daughter, thank you for being around. Better late than never. We wish you a blessed night.
Sorry, I came in late.
Okay, may God bless you. Thank you. Still, you came at least. Thank you.
Just left.
Okay, your network is also late. It is later than your voice. Okay, bye.